Jerzy, welcome to the Live the Width of Your Life podcast. I'm so excited that you're here with me.
Well, thank you, Aneta. I appreciate being here.
Yeah. It's incredible. Your bio that people have just listened to is so rich, so full. And as I was preparing for today's time together, I thought, how do I even begin with Jerzy? Because he has had such an amazing life. And so, for those that maybe don't know too much about your background, you have lived these different lives in Poland, challenging circumstances that maybe you want to share, exile. Then you immigrated, you became this world champion. You're a poet, you're a scholar. You have coached people like Tim Ferriss and Naval Ravikant. It's like, what an amazing, enchanted life. So, can you just share a little bit about maybe some of your earlier days and how that brought you to where you are today?
Like they say that some people have 7 lives like cats. So maybe it's something with me, but it's a constant between lucky and not lucky. And when you are lucky and you come out of not luck, then you learn something and you actually become a better person. And my time, I was an alcoholic in high school. I really felt into darkness, and I was like 3 years in darkness. Then I was lucky. So somebody appeared in my life and pulled me out of it. So I didn't die, but it was really difficult. I was suicidal, and the meaning of life was gone completely. I was 18 years old, and I was lucky somebody appeared in my life and pulled me out of that. So then I entered the fire department and became a fireman after about a year. I was 19 years old. And the fire department. Meantime, I also did Olympic weightlifting. And during these 5 years, I went back to high school and finished my high school. And it was rough. It was tough. I started high school before. They were already in medical schools, and I was starting my high school. Mentally, it was tough. Then, about when I was 24, I began Fire Protection Engineering Academy to study fire protection engineering and become a chief somewhere in Poland in the fire department. I really loved to be a fireman. It was something interesting for me. When first time I was in a fire engine and going to the fire, I was 19 years old, and experience that I had, well, I cannot buy that experience. I felt for the first time that somebody needs me,
Mm.
and I'm going there. I have goosebumps now, really. It's just like, yeah, 50 years after. And that experience that I loved and I wanted over and over. And the fire department, being a fireman, I was getting it. I was getting this feeling to be with people, to be a rescuer, to be a savior. I really love to be. I was an alcoholic and I was saved, and maybe that had a huge impact on me. Life is full of surprises. So when I was 27, just before graduating from engineering, and I was 81, and Solidarity was in a full swing, and the government wanted to use the fire department against the demonstrations. So we said no. I was the leader of the strike, and my life flipped from the one that was going to graduate, and I was married already 4 years, and we were going to go somewhere and start our life. And our life flipped. I was underground for 4 years, and after 4 years, my dear friend and mentor, Jerzy Gregorek, who was a priest in Warsaw, was captured, tortured, murdered. Shortly after, I get a message that I have to go. And shortly after, in 85, in March, I left Poland. My wife didn't go with me because we were afraid that they would stop us at the border. So I ended up in Sweden, and my wife bribed some people and joined me 10 months after. Then we went to Germany, and I went to CIA to expose my work at the underground because there was something going on. That somebody was a snitch and there were a lot of arrests. So I spent there about 2-3 weeks. And after that, we landed in New York, then LA. And it's 1986 in New York when we were going from New York to Detroit. Our luggage that we had, only one luggage, everything what we had was stolen, was gone, was stolen, gone, gone. And we had only $1,000 and clothes on ourselves and nothing else. So we decided to go to LA, $400 tickets. We have $600 land in LA, LAX. The person that was going to meet us and help us said that she was sick and no help. So we are at LAX 11 p.m. and $600 and that's it. So that was our beginning. Eventually, we ended up in this Polish friend who was on a plane with us, and he was sponsored by his aunt. And we slept there on the floor for some days. And then this Polish family helped us to live in a house they were building, and there was no heating, nothing, but we were happy to be there. And then shortly after, about 2 months, I found a gym in Burbank and started working in the power suits. And that's the beginning of a new era.
Wow. As you think back and you're even sharing your story, going through it, I don't know how often you revisit it because sometimes we normalize the experiences that we have. But as you think back to that and you see all of the things that had to have happened in your life to bring you to where you are, what would you say were some of the biggest moments that built the resilience today?
I think that when I came out of alcoholism, was really a big one, and learn how to live the life without it.
Mm.
And the next was the Olympic weightlifting. And just before really my career was taking off, I got injured and paralyzed. And recovery was about half a year. Then I returned to sport and to Olympic weightlifting. And it happened again. The doctor, the orthopedist said, if you do it, you can be permanently paralyzed. So you have to give up. So then giving up, grieving that was really tough, but I was recovering. So then the fire department that I couldn't be fireman anymore was another, this was the third one. So I still have dreams that I'm in the fire department somewhere, or I finished my school. Can you imagine 45 years and I still have these dreams? So grieving is automatic. You grieve without yourself. So if you go through a flip of life, that something flips so badly and so differently, then everything is new, but the grieving is strong. Like you worry about your daughter. Like I have a daughter and I worry all the time. It doesn't matter what I want to worry. I worry. You don't have a control over that, like blushing, and if you blush, you blush and you cannot do anything about that.
It's so true. And some of those things would have broken other people. I think that today, as we think about just the struggles a lot of folks have, it's difficult to relate to your story because you had so many, one right after another. And yet, I wonder how much of that built this philosophy that you have right now sitting behind you that says hard choices, easy life, easy choices, hard life. Tell me a little bit more about when you first came across that philosophy and how it applies to everything that you're doing today.
When we published the Happy Body book that had everything inside of it to help people to create this athletic lifestyle medicine for themselves, then I thought that the book is there and people will do it and everything is there. So it's great. But we were faced with another challenge. And another challenge was that it was very hard for people to actually create that lifestyle for themselves. I still had clients, and I just thought that the clients will not be there because the book is there. So my work is done in that area. That was not true. People started really coming and needed the structure, needed the help, needed the mentorship. And I was looking at that and looking at the plan that is already there and looking at the suffering of people with inability to create for themselves a good life and because of the emotional issues. So I was looking at the suffering and I started writing poems, poem after poem. But 4 years passed and I created the whole book of poetry that was written because of my clients and suffering and just inability to create goodness for themselves, even they wanted. And that was shocking for me. I then created these dialogues between the fatalist and the master in the mind, and how to outwit the fatalists, how the master actually outwits. So I was really interested what to do, how to do that we actually can improve and create this compound interest that would help us to actually get better, to accumulate more money, or getting stronger or more flexible or calmer. So that road is like building the skill, mental skill for how to live life, how to live life that with these hard choices. And the hard choices is always appearing when we want to engage this 10% compound interest, that when we need something to get better, that we need mentorship, we need plan, we need strategies, and so on. If we don't have it, then we only live life and life happens to us. So we are unable to create a better life. So that was quite a road. And I found out that we need so many different perspectives, like poetry, dialogues, meditation, and exercise routine, daily routine. And we need mentors. Really, we need mentors. We need people who can help us on that road. I know you are one of the mentors here, one of the voices that go to people and help people actually with this resilience, help people to wake up in the morning and go do the writing or go to school or go to work or whatever is in front of them they need to do, like Michelle Obama said. Like it's like what's it in front of you? You wake up and do it. And I know it's easier to say than actually create that. That's why my always focus was on daily routine, that it has to be daily, it has to be rooted. It's like in you that you wake up in the morning and you don't question to go to the gym or meditate. You do certain things. Like I meditate twice a day, I do TM and I don't question it. I have in the morning and I have 5 p.m. I sit and I meditate, and it's already 35 years of that. And there's no question about that. So I have the same exercise, my writing is the same. So we created the Happy Party to be the 30 minutes that people could have that 30 minutes, devote this 30 minutes. And the 30 minutes that would repeat itself and it would not be so hard anymore and become easy life. And in that 30 minutes, we try to pack everything what needed for a good life. Stability, the strength, mindfulness, meditation, good posture, all of it. And that's what the happy body is. You do 30 minutes, and if you do in a half a year, in a 3 months, really, the body loves it. Feel better in about half a year, a lot of better in 1 year. It's like the body plays the music, the same music, and improves itself because of that. So a journey that was very interactive between psychology, philosophy, between the physical sarcopenia, aging, and dealing with it. And dealing with it in the hard choice idea that we need to get better. And in order to get better, the hard choices appear. And they don't appear when we want to get better. They just go on.
Yeah, I'm so curious. I love that you talked about all that. Absolutely am obsessed with my morning routines. I'm obsessed with all the things that, for me, many things you mentioned that if I don't feel good. I don't have a great day. People around me can tell. But did you already have all these practices as part of your own daily routines? Or did you notice, oh, my clients are suffering. Let's try this. Let's try that. And then suddenly the program formed over time.
It happened because of the challenges. It didn't happen mentally that I created those things. No, it happened because the challenge was there. And since the beginning, first of all, when I was a fireman, I really like solutions and how to deal with the fire and how to fight the fire. And it was immediate and it was in the moment. And I really like this reactive and also delay gratification. When I coach people, then I always had this progress in my brain that we have to go somewhere.
Mm.
And I had to build something. There has to be like a athletic way that you have to get better. And where is the end of it? End of it is, of course, the world championship. Are they numbers there? In some sports you have numbers, and sports you don't have numbers because there are only games or no numbers. In athletics, like track and field, all numbers. Right? In weightlifting, all numbers. But in wrestling, there is no numbers. There is a human being that you work with. So it's really hard. There is more vague and you don't know where you are. Really. I like boxing and wrestling. And in games, it's the same way. So it's a challenge that creates the journey. And if the challenge is there, and if you create something that you want and you want really badly, it should be something for years to achieve and not really in 3 months, but in 5 years. So you want to become a lawyer and you're not. So it will take a while, MD. Or you want to go to Olympics or be an artist. It usually takes 5-10 years. But my coach said the Olympics it's a flicker of a horizon. It's not a fire. So he was telling me that I should enjoy life. And when I actually create this Olympics, there is life around. Should be fun. There should be joy, and they should learn how to progress, how to get this 10% compound interest with the micro progression and pleasure and the joy and fun. Otherwise, it's too hard, and we break.
Yeah, we don't do it. And that's why I love that your program, you said, is 30 minutes a day. And
Right.
and you show up consistently, and over time, you're going to start to notice progress. Tell me, like, give us a high level for folks that are curious, because I think in our society, so many people are looking for a quick fix. They want immediate results. But how many people have gone through your program, would you say, since you started it? An estimate.
100,000?
Yeah, at least 1,000, right? And you have some
100,000. 100,000.
100,000.
Oh, yes.
A lot of people, like I said, I listened to Tim Ferriss's interview with you, which was so interesting. I don't know why he called you Victor for a while, but that's a story for another time.
Yeah, it's a different story, but it's very interesting diplomacy.
But so you created the program, and so many people have gone through it right now. And if for folks that are listening and they're not actually watching this, I would say you look amazing. You look super vibrant. You look very healthy. So you can tell that you are doing what you are teaching people to do. And I'm not going to ask you about all your records, but I do think people can look it up. But tell us, folks that are maybe feel like they've let themselves go or they haven't made the investment in themselves holistically, what would you tell someone? Maybe they're in their midlife and they're unhealthy right now or not mobile or not flexible. What would you say to get them encouraged maybe to start your program?
Well, run away from variety is something that is good for entertainment, but it is not good for our aging and for helping ourselves with aging. Aging is tough. It's a very destructive force. So if you are more than 35, you're already experiencing the symptoms and signs. And to actually deal with aging requires plan, strategies, and consistency and doing over and over the same. Why the same? Because the body is breaking, is getting worse. It's very difficult for the body to gain the muscle, actually the body loses the muscle. The muscle also get tightness, leads to inflammation and problems with tightness and pains. And once the pain sets up in the body, then the painkillers, right, or fixing, we go to chiropractors, we go to masseurs, we go to acupuncturists, but it's all only fixing, is temporary relief. I have to learn how to build a lifestyle that creates us, not the fixing, but the lifestyle that creates us. So that lifestyle, if you imagine all the athletes, different like pole vaulters and sprinters and swimmers, and then you see the lifestyle of the athletes, and they all are awesome. They just do one thing. They become this because of the pursuing one thing. There is no variety in a pole vaulter or a football player or baseball player. They play over and over the same. And the hard choices are coming very fast. And when the hard choice comes in, it's hard to progress and we get the plateaus and so on. When people didn't have this athletic background, then they just give up and switch to something else. And at the beginning of something else, there's progress very fast. And then there's no progress. And then there is disappointment and then switching to something else. So the message is very clear. If you want to really get better and improve yourself, just pick up one thing. If it's climbing the mountain, climbing the mountain. If it's swimming, swimming, become the swimmer. If it's running, become the runner. Then if the football, right? Weightlifting is weightlifting. But really treat it as serious, something that you want to become better in it. Find the mentors, find the coaches to get better and pursue it. So the happy body then becomes like internal massage for athletes. So when athletes are training their skills, the happy body, they do only one round the happy body. After the training takes about 15 minutes to test the body, whether the body it needs attention. When something, there is soreness in the body, there is tightness in the body, there is pain, and there is something that is accumulating. So you can release it. So when I do Olympic weightlifting, I did a happy body one round, only takes me about 10, 15 minutes. And sometimes I find some things when I was training, but it's not showing yet in my brain. So it's accumulating, but I can release that. So it's a really awesome detector. And in spite of what your sport is, you still need the happy body. If you don't have the sport, then you treat the happy body as your sport. And that becomes everything what you want. This is your music of the day. And you play the same music and become better in the playing, like Chopin. Like you go to Warsaw and you play this piece of music, and that you play that piece of music for 20 years and you become so awesome. You can imagine that you can do the happy body and you play every day the same piece of music. After 20 years, you are incredible. The body becomes this instrument that is incredible as well. And then one thing more is that if you are 90 and you wake up in the morning, it would be a lot of easier to do something that you are really great at and you are familiar with that, right? So when you do the happy body, probably when you are 90, I'm 71, but when you are 90, when I am 90, so I will be doing kind of the same thing because it's based on familiarity, and not only familiarity, but also the excellence of your level of performance. And then if you have this excellence and you have this flexibility and everything else, it adds to agility of life. And when you face life, the life is asking then very little comparing to who you are and your body is capable. Like I am 71, but I don't feel like there is anything that I cannot do. If I want surfing, that I will do surfing. If I want skiing, I will do skiing. In the same way, I was 20 years old. Why? Because still the capability of the body is a lot of more than an average 20-year-old has it without any training.
Yeah. It's incredible because I've seen your YouTube videos. I mean, you are lifting while you are on one of those boards that moves. I'm like,
I
okay.
love that.
So there's so much flexibility and strength and balance and everything. So what have you noticed that you've adjusted yourself as you have aged? Because I think a lot of us are looking to go into our later years and later decades feeling good, looking good, but also having the mobility, having the longevity, being able to enjoy ourselves and continue to do the things like you said. If we want to surf, we want to ski, if we want to travel instead of sitting in a chair all day, what are some of the things you've done to your own personal plan to adjust for that?
The one thing that we see as athletes that we lose the strength and mobility, agility stays the same. We can have it. We can be 90-year-old or 100 years old and not to lose the flexibility. We don't lose also the speed. And when you compete on a high level, yes, when you're a sprinter, you will lose the speed as well because you're losing the strength. But the quality, the difference between those who don't train and those who train is humongous. It's the difference that lifting 100 pounds and lifting 300 pounds. So like 200%. And then when you deteriorate in life, you still can be 80 years old and 90 years old and fantastic. Why is it so? Because the body is still capable. Through the aging and noticing how my body deteriorates is, and every 5 years there is a drop and drop and drop. But where is the drop? The major drop is in the strength that I lift less and less and less. Still, I lift a lot, right? Comparing to, so if you are 71-year-old and I am 71-year-old, but I'm just a world level. So when 71-year-old comes to me, he looks like my father. He looks broken. And when he finds out that we are the same age, it's shocking. It's very inspiring and motivating for people when they see in reality that is possible. And that it's easier to accept and it's easier to commit. For me, that education is a major part in helping people. So to accept the why we do what we do. And it's like a famous saying, if you know your why, then you can bear anyhow. And that's true. If you really understand the aging from the perspective of the education and science, and then it's easier to say, okay, well, it's happening to me. So can I do anything about this? Yes. Let's say you start with the happy body and keep going and progressing and educating yourself more and more. Education is crucial element. And the art is also element because it works with our emotions and emotional intelligence and mental health and capabilities actually to deliver what we want in life.
So true. And I'm also curious about how it came to be that you started writing poetry, especially poetry around food and eating. Did you always know that you were an author and that you had this creativity within you? Because you've written, what, 3 books by now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we translated about 7 books of poetry, Polish poets and Jewish poets,
Wow.
but Jewish poets that wrote in the Polish language. But poetry was interesting because it's another story. But if it's not an idea, there is a story. So when I went to Sweden after being underground and exposed to solidarity members, I lost everything in 81. My career, my love to be a fireman. Then I was underground. But then I gained a lot. My goosebumps are coming. I became friend with Jerzy Gregorek and other members of Solidarity. They had something that I've never seen. They had unconditional love. And I was a scientist and I thought that these people always fake the idea of unconditional love. It doesn't exist. They are just people who fake it. So when I lost everything, this kind of people came because the strike happened and these people came, and I look and I saw that it's true. And I flipped into something that I was not aware, but I flipped into becoming slowly that unconditional love. And when I went to Sweden, what really happened there that I started helping people, the Polish people that they were there in Stockholm, that were divided from families and solidarity members who were there. And I started seeing people, and as they started calling me a village priest. And then I was really good in helping people. And then I was not psychologist, but there was this psychologist I helped as well. She was from Warsaw, Aneta. And then she said that she's going to open a clinic in Stockholm for me, that I need to do what I do. She will watch it and she will try to learn what I do works and why it helps people. So I said, not staying in Sweden. I'm going to US, and that is my drive and that is my direction. And she said, so if you go there, then you have to write. I said, what do you mean write? And then she said, because what you do needs to be written, needs to be passed on. So I said, how do I write? I've never written anything. And I'm 30 years old. And then she said, oh, just go home, take a pen and take the piece of paper and start writing. I said, oh, okay. So I went home and whatever I
That's
wrote,
why
whatever I wrote was a poem. Couldn't write in a normal language. It was a poem on a page, and one after another, I spoke in poem. So poetry became really my drive, my life. And I entered Vermont College and studied MFA in creative writing. And we focused in poetry, 96, graduated 98, and pursued writing poetry. And I was slowly becoming a poet, but not a poet that would write poems with a purpose. So I always was fascinating with a poem that would have a purpose, that could be written that way and still be a poem and not something that is viewed as not a poem by the poets. So when I look at my clients that suffered because of their emotional incapabilities to control themselves, to do what they needed to do, I saw suffering. And I said to myself, if there is suffering, there's poetry.
Mm.
And started writing, right? Goosebumps again. So in writing, I started writing poems addressing this different problems and issues. And poem by poem, the book was created. And it took about 4 years. It was a journey with the book of poetry that was about mostly food and relationship to the food control and how to actually do that.
And what is the title of that book, the book of poetry?
Let me see. That's maybe you need a poem. I can't
I
read
think,
it to you.
yeah.
Food for your soul.
Food for your soul. Yeah. It's amazing. What I've observed with you today is that every time there was a moment where life was giving you unity to show up, to learn a lesson, to experience something, as you were thinking about it, you got the goosebumps, right? Because it's true. We feel these things, we remember as if it's happening again for the very first time. It's truth. And when you said that you became unconditional love because you experienced it from others, that was so touching to me. And it's not surprising that that's when your creativity opened up and you started writing poetry. Who knew? Because that is writing from your soul, from your essence.
Right. And then going to school, help with the craft. And interestingly, that when the Happy Body was published in 2009, people started really asking for research. Where is the research? Where is the research?
Yeah.
And I said, that's the research, right? But I didn't understand the research idea. When my daughter 3 years ago, she went to college. Then I told Aneta what we are going to do with ourselves. I said, well, maybe we should do PhD. So we both entered PhD program for 4 years. And Natalie is 4 years out. We are empty nest. We'll get crazy here. What to do, right? So we both started PhD program, mind body medicine at Saybrook University. After 2 years, I shifted to humanistic psychology. I really love positive psychology, and I am morally aligned with that. I really love it. And then the specialization is in actually creativity, innovation, and leadership.
Amazing.
But coming back to the poetry. So I will tell you only one story and one poem. I will read it to you. I am in San Francisco and I teach the class, the Happy Body class. And there is a nurse, and the nurse says that she has 2 jobs and she doesn't have time to do the Happy Body. So I'm driving home and I'm thinking about that. It's like somehow it is not right in my brain that we cannot have 30 minutes on something that actually can help us to get better in life. Why we don't have this 30 minutes? And then I arrive home, I went to meditation room, spent 4 hours of meditating and wrote a poem. So I'm going to read it to you.
Perfect.
And then I will tell you what the story was after when I went back. So the poem, the title is Who Cannot? Who Cannot? Every night when I wake up, I walk to the kitchen, and every morning there is still food on my face. How can I stop myself? His coach thought for a moment and then told him, think about all those people who stopped themselves from owning and killing and having fun because they finally saw how others suffered. Without them, we would still have slaves, a Holocaust, and a world just for men. Becoming a man like that is your only chance because there is no one else to force you. Don't you expect too much from me? Do you really believe I can be a man like that? Who cannot?
Wow, that's so beautiful.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, Jerzy. I could feel that all the way to my soul. If people want to work with you, they want to find your books, they want to learn more about your program, which I think everybody should learn more about the Happy Body. What is the best way that they can find you? The easiest way?
I will say it in a moment, but I want to the closure about the
Yes.
poem. I went to San Francisco, I read it, and that everybody talk about this poem and the perspective and understanding. And that nurse said, I will never say to my children, I cannot. Because of this poem, I saw my life. And also I saw that I watch TV, that I waste my time, and I didn't know that. And my kids were asking me about, and I was telling them that I didn't have time. I was busy and I was watching TV. And she said, well, I thank you for the poem. I really understood where my problem was. And now I will have my 30 minutes to do the happy balance. So coming back to where people can find about the Happy Body, there is the Happy Body, of course, web page. There you can buy the books, you can engage in classes that I organize. But I see that people need some kind of a consistency. They can come, let's say, daily somewhere. And if they need to do the workout with somebody that is the Happy Body, that is needed. So I'm going to start in January. The routine that I will repeat that routine every day, and I will be 9 a.m. Pacific time, and people can drop in, can buy the subscription, but I will be doing the happy body as I do the happy body, and I will be doing this every day, the routine. And whenever people really feel like they are lonely, they are doing just the happy body and they are bored or something, they can always drop in and enjoy being together and the routine there.
That is so perfect. I think I need that as well. It's so nice to know that you are offering this and that people, not just in California, could take advantage of it. Jerzy, coming back to where we started, you talked about how your early days were filled with darkness, but I would say just spending time with you, you are so full of light and so full of love. And so I just want to say thank you for all the beauty and the goodness and everything that you do in this world. And you just live your life with such integrity. And I love everything that you stand for. So we'll include all the show notes, of course, all the links in the show notes. And I'm just so grateful that you spent some time with me. I do have a final question, which is, what does it mean to you to live the width of your life?
So, I like to grow. For me, purpose of life is to create. And when we create and create, the creation doesn't happen that we are got actually better and better. It spreads itself to create the quantum leap. The width is building up something that takes sometimes years, and then boom, and then we go to another level. And when we get to another level, the width is again building up. So that's how I understand the width. The main support, the fundamentals, the repeating over and over something, accumulation, and enough time to pass, and all the with supporting that capability that eventually we reach the quantum leap.
Mm, that is so
I love it.
beautiful. I
Thank
love
you.
it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Aneta. It was a pleasure. It was fun. As we said, at the beginning, to have fun should be our way of life. That without fun, we should really look for the fun, right? So if it's not fun, slows down everything, slow down and then find what the fun is.
Yeah,
And if we can do that, then I think this is our success of life.
I agree. Thank you so much. I've had so much fun with you.
Thank you, Aneta. Pleasure.